Good morning, everyone. So today we are going to discuss about the scheduling and sequencing rules. So in this video, we are mainly focusing on the scheduling and sequencing rules. So what do you mean by scheduling? So in the functions of the VPC, we have a loading. So in the prior planning, we have a forecasting, prior planning, forecasting, product design, aggregate planning. After that, we have a routing. So routing means we are giving the sequence of operations. So the flow chart path flowing. So after routing, we have another important production planning control function. So that is about scheduling. So scheduling means so we are all considering the time. Considering we are all considering the time. So in this class, so what scheduling involves and the importance of good scheduling, and we are going to learn about the discuss and give the examples of the commonly used priority rules, scheduling rules. So scheduling means establishing the timetables, establishing the timing of the use of equipment, facilities, and human activities in the organization. So establishing of the timing of the use of equipment, facilities, human activities in a organization. So effective scheduling can yield, so it will be saving the cost and it will be increasing the productivities. So maximum utilization of all the resources, maximum utilization of all resources will be taking place. So scheduling means, so it will be belongs to the timetable and assigning the works to the man, assigning to the works to the machines. So in the routing we have given the path, sequence of the path. So after one operations, so in the last video I have given the examples. For example, gear manufacturing. So if you're making a gear, so first it will be it will be going to the casting. So after casting, so it will be going as a milling machine. So after the milling machine, after gear making, after the milling machine, it will be going as a drilling machine, right? After that, it will be going to the surface finishing operation for the finishing operation. Like that sequence of operations, like that sequence of operations will be following in the scheduling, in the routing procedure. So now in this scheduling, so we are utilization of the maximum resources, maximum utilization of the resources. So when we'll start the work and when we complete the work, when we start and when we complete the work. So the scheduling means it will be related to the timetables, establishing the timing of the use of equipment, facilities in the human activities in the organization. So effective scheduling, it will be saving the cost, it will be minimizing the investment, and it will be increasing the productivity. So if you plan accordingly, if you plan accurately, so the rate of production will be more. If the plan effectively, the rate of production will goes on increasing, so increasing the productivity. So what do you mean by loading? So in the loading means loading assignment of the jobs. So in the loading means assignment of the jobs to process centers. So very important. So we are assigning the works to the operators. We are assigning the works to the operators or machines. So that will be assigning the loads, assigning the workload. So that will be the loading, assigning the jobs or process, assignment of jobs to process centers, that we call it as a loading. Whereas in the sequencing, so determining the order so in the sequencing, determining the order in which job will be processed. So we have a different sequencing techniques. In the sequencing, we have a different type of sequencing methods are there. So what do you mean by sequencing? Determining the order in which job will be processed. So what order will be going to take into the consideration. So we have a different type of sequencing methods will be there. So we are going to learn one by one. So the scheduling rules. We have the scheduling rules will be classified into, so dynamic sequencing methods and priority sequencing rules. So based on the priority sequencing rules, so we need to give the first priority to the orders. So that is about the priority sequencing rule. So if you keep on changing the first priority, that we call it as a dynamic sequencing. So we have in the scheduling rules we have a priority rule and we have a dynamic sequencing. So one by one we are going to learn in the sequencing means, so determining the order in which jobs will be processed. So we are going to learn, so determine the order in which job at work center will be processed. So workstation, an area where one person works usually with a special equipment on a specialized job, that we call it as a workstation. An area where one person works usually with a special equipment on a special job, so that is what we call it as a workstation. So in the sequencing, determining the order in which jobs at work center will be processed. So here we have in the scheduling rules, so we have a different type of sequencing methods are there. So priority sequencing rules and dynamic sequencing rules. So in the priority sequencing, based on priority, so based on the first priority we are giving, based on the first priority, so this is all under category of the first priority. Based on the first priority, so we have a primary sequencing rules are there. If keep on changing the first priority of the operation, so that we call it as under the dynamic sequencing. So we have in the sequencing further classified into primary sequencing and dynamic sequencing. So in the primary sequencing rules, so first we need to keep on the first priority. We give the first priority Based on the first priority, we need to do the operation, that is about priority sequencing rules. If they keep on changing the first priority, so that we call it as a dynamic sequencing. So we have a priority rules. Simple Hershey will use it to select the order in which job will be processed. So we have a sequencing rules. So we have a priority rules are there. So in the scheduling rules, primary sequencing rules, so we have a different type of priority rules are there. So first one is the FCFS, first come first serve. So in generally we are seeing the banks, how much we are going to deposit. So how much amount you maybe deposit, huge amount will be deposited or less amount will be deposit, you make first come and first serve. Even the demots also, the examples in the demot also, for considering the demot example also, we considering the first come and first serve. So you may purchase less quantity of the products. If you come first, so the bill will be given to the first come first service basis. So this is the example, first come first serve method. Even in the scheduling, so first come first serve, first serve, so that rule will be followed. Then another important scheduling policy that is about shortest processing time, SPT, shortest processing time. So I'm going to consider the three manufacturing operations. For example, first we need to drilling, then boring, and we are giving the knurling operations. Like that we are giving different operations, we are going to perform the different operations on the workpiece. So it takes too much of time for each operation. For example, drilling it will be taking 15 minutes and boring it will be taking 30 minutes and knurling will be taking 5 minutes only. So shortest processing time. So I am considering the first operation will goes to on the shortest processing time. So for example, in this example, drilling, boring and knurling. So the knurling operation takes less time. Knurling operation time, it will be taking less time. So I will consider the knurling operation doing the first. So shortest processing time. So scheduling, in the scheduling priority rules, so I will give the priority to the shortest processing time. So first one is the first come first serve, the second one is the shortest processing time and the shortest processing. So just now I given three manufacturing operations. In the three manufacturing operations, so drilling, boring and knurling, so knurling will be taking the less time, so I consider as the so first I will do the knurling operations. So shortest processing which consume the less time, so that I will give to the priority the that operation in this shortest processing time. Another important priority rule, that is about earlier due date. Third one is the earlier due date. So the due date will be earlier, so I will give the priority to that one. So I am ordering so I will be delivered to the Monday afternoon and I will deliver it to the Monday evening. For example, I will deliver it to the order will be delivered to the Monday morning, afternoon and evening, and Tuesday, Thursday, like that. Saturday will like that. So earlier due date will be considering earlier in this condition, in this scheduling policy. So earlier due date will be considered. So that is about the earlier due date. Will be considered, and that operation that will be given to the first priority whenever the due date comes. So that priority given to this that operations only, that orders only. Right? For example, food processing item, bakery items will be taken as the examples of the earlier due date, like that. In the production planning control also we are giving the earlier due date operations. So then we have a least slack method, LS. So similarly to the earlier due date, we have a LS, least slack method. It is also similar to the earlier due date. So this is about slack per operation or least slack or slack per operation. In sometimes we are giving the priority to the emergency rush, and sometimes we are giving to the emergency operations. So these are the important scheduling rules. So this is about in the sequencing method. In the primary sequencing rules, first come first serve, shortest processing time, earlier due date, critical ratio, least slack method, and we are giving the priority to the emergency operations also. So these are the priority rules. These are the sequencing rules. So we'll see the objectives of the scheduling. So the objectives of the scheduling is will be utilizing the maximum utilization of all the resources. So we have seen that the scheduling is a timetable in the production planning. So timetable of the production. So like as our classroom schedule, how much time will be taking for each subject, like that. So in the scheduling, so in each operation how much time will be given to the each operation. So the scheduling is also nothing but it will be analyzing the starting time of the each operation and completion of the ending time of the each operation. Scheduling that is also one of the objective of the scheduling. It will be looking to the each operation starting and ending time of the job, and that is also one of the important factor in the scheduling. So the timetable of the production, so is a time for every subject, starting and completing.
Assuming, sir.
Starting and ending time of the each operation. So starting and completing of each operation. So then minimizing the time when we'll be starting and completing the time element. So the scheduling mainly focusing. So the mainly it will be focusing on the time element. So the advantage of the advantage of the effective scheduling is cost saving and even increasing the productivity. So it will be meet the customer due dates. Another important parameter in the scheduling, it will be meet the customer due dates. So in the operations management or the production planning control, it will be another important objective of the operations management. It will be maintaining the we need to deliver the customer orders on time. So we meet customer on time. So the customer due date will be followed in the scheduling. So it will be minimizing the, it will be saving, so maximum utilization of sources, it will be saving the cost, it will be increasing the production rate, minimizing the idle time, minimizing the lead time, minimizing the overtime. Like that, effective scheduling will be reducing the time of the each operation and increasing the productivity. So it will be meet the customer due dates, it will be minimizing the lead time conditions, it will be minimizing the lateness of the each operation, it will be minimizing the overtime operations, so it will be minimizing the completion time, right? So we have these are the important objectives of the scheduling. So the scheduling, it will be, the customer due date will be met, minimizing the due time, minimizing the idle time, minimizing the overtime, slack time. So these are the important objectives of the scheduling, right? So it will be minimizing the lateness, minimizing the completion time, minimizing the idle time, it will be minimizing the overtime. So like that, we have a different objectives of the scheduling of, like that we have a different objectives of the scheduling. So cost saving, so ultimate objective, in the due time, in the less time we need to produce more, in the shortest time we need to produce more. At the same time, so the customer orders will be there, we need to give the delivery due date on time. So within the shortest time we need to give the orders, we need to deliver the whatever the order we got it, we need to deliver in shortest possible time, due date. So within the due date we will be giving to the orders. So that is the important factors and important objectives of the scheduling. I hope you are understanding the sequencing rules and objectives of the scheduling. Thank you.